Hi, my name is Grace Nissen.
I'm Allie Drews.
I'm Sydney Utek,
Savina May.
and our scenario is integrating electronic health records in a hospital setting. In a large hospital, nursing leadership and management are facing a scenario that necessitates a change in practice regarding the integration of electronic health records. The hospital recently adopted a new EHR system with the aim of improving patient care, streamlining workflows, and enhancing data accessibility. However, several challenges have arisen. The first challenge is user resistance. Many nurses and healthcare staff are not resistant to the new EHR system due to its complexity and the learning curve associated with it. And the second challenge is interoperability issues. The new EHR system does not seamlessly integrate with other hospital systems, leading to data silos and inefficiencies in patient care coordination. So some potential areas for improvement. The first one goes straight to the staff not accepting the EHR. If we can kind of figure out how to make the system more effective, and change it a little bit, and maybe even ask the nurses like what they don't like about it and why they aren't accepting of this system, we can kind of figure out a way to work around that and make it easier for them, and then maybe they'll be more willing to change. In an article, I found that a lot of staff members that don't accept EHR systems then make it not as effective at all for the hospital, and it kind of crashes and burns super quickly. The next thing is the system not integrating with other hospitals. If we kind of slowly transition the new system to maybe different floors of the hospital, and we can kind of figure out like what part of the system isn't working and what part isn't integrating with other hospital systems, and work to then transition it to the whole hospital and kind of figure out what exactly isn't working and why it's not seamlessly transitioning to other hospitals.
Perfect. So my name is Grace, and the slide that I did was the actual areas of improvement when it comes to the electronic health system and integrating it into the hospital. So the first point I found that we can improve was education regarding the electronic health record system. Determining which parts of the system are more complex and are harder for staff to use can help leadership individuals identify what additional education should be provided so that people better understand it. For example, if the lab section of the EHR was overwhelming for nurses, additional training about that section could be provided, or it could be reworked just so that it's more seamless and easier for nurses and other healthcare workers to use. Optional training sessions may also need to be offered for staff who are struggling more than others. So, for example, if there were certain staff members struggling with like the radiology section, then we could hold optional training sessions just for that specific section of the EHR so that people can choose to attend those if they'd like. Education regarding the benefits of using the electronic health record system could also be provided to staff so that they're more encouraged to use it. If they know the reason why it's being implemented and they have reasons to use it, they might be more likely to. But if they don't know the reasons behind implementing it, they just may not want to use it. And then I also posted a photo in the slide so you can see sometimes electronic health records can just be really confusing. And I know as students, we also can kind of struggle switching between different hospitals. So if nurses are switching like between two different hospital systems, it can definitely be a hard transition. So education is really important. And then the next area for improvement that I found was data integration and patient care coordination. Um, so, if, for example, a patient was seen at another facility and they received an X-ray, having that information in the EHR at another hospital could be super beneficial for many reasons. Without access to data like this, nurses may not have any desire to use the AHR since it's not making their care delivery more simple. It can also lead to unnecessary procedures and medical errors. If the hospital didn't have that X-ray information, they may have to repeat the X-ray, or they may have missed something that was on it, and a medical error could occur, which obviously we don't want. Um, in a study published by the Australian Journal of Advanced Nursing, nurses reported that the lack of integration across the EMR platform reduced efficiency, discouraged teamwork, and further excluded patients and women from participating in their care. So, not only is data integration and patient care coordination good for hospitals and hospital staff members, but it's also good for patients so that they feel like they're being involved in their care and that their care is patient-centered. Yeah.
So there are several different groups of people that would be needed to help implement these changes to the EHR system. So first of all, the tech companies that create and manage online health databases need to build systems that are easy to utilize, and not only for providers, but also so that there can be efficient interdisciplinary communication between like different members of the healthcare team. Secondly, nurse leaders and also EHR reps who teach nurses and providers about how to use the systems and any updates to the EHR should be trained properly. One frustration that is shared by healthcare professionals is difficulty navigating the EHR systems online, particularly after software updates happen. And then lots of articles that I have found said that IT support should also be available via phone, preferably like 24/7. So that if any issues occur during a shift, people can just call and have those fixed, which makes it easier for everybody. And then healthcare professionals have to be willing to adapt to change and learn how to navigate online medical platforms. That will require a collective mindset that is open to problem solving. Healthcare employees also have to utilize the EHR systems responsibly because there is a risk of privacy breaches and security problems. So just making sure that everybody is on board with that. And then insurance agencies such as Medicare and Medicaid are important because they can provide compensation as an incentive for providers to adopt EHRs and use them in their practices. And then they can also might consider helping patients pay for EHRs, like if they want to use it from home and access their medical health records. And then government organizations and nonprofits might need to help improve internet and technology access, especially in rural areas. It's hard to imagine where we are, but there are still hospitals that don't have all the technological opportunities that the hospitals here have and might need some help with getting those started to implement EHRs. And then the governments also need to put regulations into place that address privacy and security standards for agencies that utilize EHR systems.
So looking at like a hospital administration standpoint and using the Lewin's change theory, this is kind of an action plan that we would see hopefully implemented in the hospital. So unfreezing is that preparing for the change. You're not just, throwing someone into a microwave and thawing them out. You're going to let them thaw. You're going to let them slowly acclimate. So starting with those mini teaching sessions about a new system, starting maybe 6 months from the implementation date to get people more used to what it looks like and what changes are coming, maybe even just to get them excited if you're upgrading from an older system that may not be as efficient. Letting your patients know that a change is coming and providing them with some information of what's going to change in their patient portal is important because you're going to be getting a lot of calls. So being able to have that education ready and know what's going to be said helps with the patient communication side of things and patient satisfaction. Patients don't like hearing, I don't know, and being able to give them a valid, just like, this is what's happening. Here is something that we know is going to happen on your side, kind of builds that trust with the patient during this change. Building a good relationship with just the EHR company and the representatives that come to share information will be really great, because if you have a problem, you want to be able to reach out to them and know that you have this rapport and they're going to want to help you. If you're just like brushing them off constantly and being like, oh, I don't need to hear about your EHR, Like my nurses don't need to hear about that. And then something happens, they're not going to want to come help you. And then making sure that the insurance companies are aware of this change because the compensation can help pay for the transition. So like these teaching sessions could be paid sessions for nurses, and then the optional ones for more like continuing education or stuff like that. You know, like those get paid and it makes sense to have extra compensation on the side because we're dealing with budgets here and staffing. So after you get everything ready, we hit the changing part of this. We have a data integration focused team to ensure accurate data transfer because a huge concern is making sure that the right information gets to the right place. Having a team dedicated to that ensures that that's happening. Make sure that we have resources available to patients to access their chart. Maybe it's just a designated person who is very well trained in the new system. That is the help desk and they're called. Communicating with the company. So we're keeping that transition smooth. We're not just saying, okay, thanks for the software and then cutting off that tie. They're going to be there every step of the way to create a seamless transition. And then, like Sydney said, we're going to implement one unit at a time. This eases people in and it prevents the downtime that can happen across the hospital while still helping us also find the little things that we can tweak to make it better instead of everyone in the hospital has the same problem. We're progressively getting more and more aware of what's going on with this system. And then for refreezing, this is the part where we keep the new system going. We keep it working and we don't let some of these things slip through the cracks. So occasional data auditing to be compared with old records, just to make sure that this data integration team is hitting their goals and having the support they need is really important because the second we start losing data integration, the whole thing falls apart. Care team satisfaction surveys are a place to ask questions to make learning sessions more focused on the needs of the team. So having the nurses answer what they're having problems with and what they're frustrated with so that we can communicate with the EHR reps to bring in focused education to help keep things communicative and nice and helpful. And then patient satisfaction surveys that include questions regarding accessing their records. So we do patient satisfaction surveys when people leave the hospital. Adding a couple questions about, were you able to access your patient portal today? Or have you had any trouble with that? Has your nurse been able to help you? To show how educated we are on our system and how well our system is working for the patient. Because in the end, this is all about the patient. If it's not working for them, it might not be the right choice for the hospital as a whole. And then quarterly reports to track proficiency and growth through the new system to show that things are getting charted more regularly nurses are learning this system and becoming more proficient with it. And that's about it for that plan. It wraps it all nicely into a little bow. Those are our references.
Awesome. Thank you.